this is going to be just a quick review of the things that I've noticed in terms of quality of life differences, because sometimes it can be this question of, do I really need a new phone? In terms of the iPhone 12 Pro, what I've found is the most noticeable difference is that everything's just really buttery smooth and lightning fast. When you open reasonably intensive apps, I mean, Notion, for example, is an app that's, to be honest, kind of a bit poorly optimized on the iPhone. But when you've actually opened the app, like, it's really, really quick on the iPhone 12 Pro. And so I definitely noticed this big difference between when I was using my iPhone 10 and this new iPhone with regards to that smoothness and that startup speed. The next thing I noticed was that the battery life is generally really good. So coming from an iPhone 10 where by the end of the day, I was usually hitting the last 5%, rushing home to get it charged. The new iPhone 12 Pro, or even perhaps the 12, like, the battery, comparably speaking, is a lot better. Theoretically, the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro have actually better batteries than the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro respectively. You know, before, when I was getting home with about a 5% battery at the end of the day, these days I tend to be coming home with about 50% battery on my phone. So, like, it's a really, really big difference. The camera is really, really good. The images are really sharp. They provide a really nice HDR as well. There's a good reason why it gets a reputation as one of the best smartphone cameras in the world. So I'm just going to quickly run through a quick tour of the stuff that I use and really like. So in terms of my own little system, I have a calendar widget, which is just from Fantastical, and that one just sort of sits on the top of my home screen there. I have these little shortcuts that I've created. So basically the iPhone has this app called Shortcuts, which is an official app by Apple, and that lets you create your own little programs, I guess. So for example, this Drive to Work one, I've connected it up with Google Maps, and it will take me straight to work, and then I'll be able to, you know, sort of immediately go there. So you can see that it literally takes 2 taps to go to work. I'm not going to go to work now because it's late at night, but yeah, that's an example. I've got one that lets me drive to a place that I'm renting out at the moment, and I also have some where I can add it to my to-do apps. So for example, this quick capture button that I've created allows me to really just very quickly type in something. So for example, record a YouTube video, and you can see that the text response is super duper quick from typing to text. And then I'll put it in, I don't know, logistics as my tag, and then it'll be there in my to-do list really quickly. Other apps that I use, I mean, I've got my mail there, and my mail is my mail. Google Maps, so even if you're not an Apple Maps fan, if you are an Apple Maps hater, then you've got Google Maps there, which I still think is a superior maps. The Readdle Calendars is an app that's a paid one, but it's really, really good for looking at things. So I use that and Fantastical for like different reasons. Unfortunately, Readdle don't make a Mac app for that, otherwise I would use that. Other stuff on my phone screen, so for example the Forest app, which is used for concentrating. I've got this cute little dog tree that I can plant, but I've also got a little widget next to that screen. So for example, like, instead of having to go into the app and tap, I can be a little extra step lazier and just literally tap the study button, and then it should plant a tree automatically. It hasn't now, but if I do it again, then there you go, it plants it automatically. I don't want to have a dead tree in my thing though. So that's useful for like Pomodoros and like trying to get blocks of time to concentrate in. I have this app Sorted, which I've talked about in another video, which is like a to-do list app as well, but it's something that focuses on scheduling time for like certain tasks that you want to do. For example, 1 p.m. I'll do this and that. Anyway, I've talked about it in another video, so you can check that out. It's really, really good. And it comes as a widget too. So if I, you know, for example, add something to here, there's YouTube at 4 p.m. So now that'll come as like a little thing there too. I use Dropbox quite a lot because I'm a big fan of cloud usage and being able to look at files on my computer and on my phone at the same time, because I like to do a lot of editing and reading between those two things. This widget is called Screen Time. So the Screen Time widget is really good for tracking how much time you're using in particular apps, and I put it above some apps that, like before the page of apps that waste time, I put this on both screens just to be extra conscious of it, I guess. And you'll notice that I've got a bunch of different apps here, like Bear, which is used for journaling, Headspace, which is used for meditation, Notion, which is Notion, and Spotify for music. Doctor's Bag is a app that literally you just very quickly select medications if you want. So yeah, there's that. And Audible is used for audiobooks. Freeletics is for gym work and gives you sort of tailored workouts and that sort of thing. Perhaps the Evernote here is something that seems a bit weird since I've got Notion and Evernote at the same time, but there's still a few notes that I keep on Evernote because I did use it for many years and occasionally want to look it up. And actually their app is a lot better now. On this other page, now you'll notice that the arrangement is not at all by category of stuff. In fact, the arrangement here is arranged specifically because it's color coded. So it's just a pure aesthetic pleasure kind of thing. So for example, the top left corner is full of blue apps, the middle is red, black next, and then purple next, and then the bottom row is green stuff. So it's just aesthetically pleasing. Now, I do actually have more apps than this, and so one thing about the iPhone is that you get this thing called App Library. So let's say that this investment app I have called Stake, I don't want it on my home screen because it's out of place, right? So what I do is I'll just hold it and then click remove app, and then it gives you two options when you actually remove the app. So you can delete it, or you can actually move it to the app library. And so moving it to the app library, oh no, it's disappeared, what am I going to do with all my investments? What actually has happened is that it's gone to this bit, and you can see that if I actually go in here, I can find it again. So it's just at the bottom there. Alternatively, you can search the app library. This is the first app which comes up. Great, that's the perfect one. And yeah, so that's really, really useful for decluttering your home screen. And in fact, you can actually sort of hold on the middle of the screen, and you can add widgets with the plus button, or you can even move the different screens, or choose to hide the different screens. So let's say that I wanted to get rid of that last screen. I just untick that, and then it's gone completely. So yeah, so that's really, really great. Another thing that I tend to do with my apps, or my phone rather, is that I actually tend to put it on do not disturb mode all the time. So with your phone function, you can actually set favorite contacts, and so what happens is if someone is a favorite contact, then they'll be able to message you and call you and stuff like that. But if someone is not a favorite contact, then their message doesn't even pop up as a notification, or their calls go straight to voicemail. So if you're trying to concentrate on different things and find that you don't want distractions, which is something that's actually really useful. Because how often is it that your friend needs to urgently call you? Not very often at all, right? So the do not disturb function, where you access via swiping down from the top right, is just this moon shaped thing there. So then you click that, and then that will activate the do not disturb mode. So in terms of other useful apps, I have this other app called Pixu, which is really cool. So Pixu is really interesting because it allows you to take sort of screenshots and stitch them together really quickly. I think it's only $1.99 of the App Store or something, but it's super duper quick. So let's say that I'm going to I want to share this, but obviously it's a big page of stuff, and I know because me and my friends talk about hindfoot pain in adults, I guess. So what I'll do is I'll screenshot by pressing the hold button and the volume up button, and then that takes a screenshot, and I'll scroll down a little bit and then just go there, and then maybe take a few more. So what happens is that you can go to the Pixu app, which is quite cool, and that'll be one way that you can have them automatically stitched together. Or you can go even better and just use this Pixu widget sort of on this screen. If you just keep scrolling left and install this, you can go to this screen, and then I just literally click save, and then it's already given me an option to delete the sources, so delete the original screenshots. And now I have a photo there that I can, there's like a stitched version that I can share with people. So that's a really cool app. I discovered that like half a year ago, and like it's been amazing. I think one last app I'll quickly talk about, because I think that sometimes like understanding what this LiDAR thing is. So LiDAR is a way to capture distance, essentially, and so what it does is uses infrared lights that are invisible to our eye, and determines, okay, like this thing, for example, like from here to here is like one like maybe like 30 centimeters if it like there's an object there. And so it does that for like hundreds or thousands of times to determine what the actual shape of stuff is. And you might be wondering, why is that useful? Well, the main reasons that that's useful, one, for most people, is useful because of the fact that you can get focus in low light quickly. Quickly, that's not even a word. Get focus in low light quicker. And the second reason, and I think this is going to become increasingly important, it doesn't look like it's important now, but actually when Apple released their AR glasses eventually, because they're rumored to be working on augmented reality glasses, LiDAR is actually a really important part of having an augmented reality experience that it like has digital objects that are stable in the world, and also being able to do things like, for example, occlusion. So for example, when, let's say that you have this, right, and you are in augmented reality. So if you don't have LiDAR, what would happen is that if this phone, for example, goes behind the book, then there's no way for the AR to detect that the book is actually in front. So what it will look like is this will get like smaller and smaller and smaller, but it will still always be in front of the book, which obviously like is not like what reality is like, right? So with LiDAR, it determines that there's a book there, and then it actually hides objects, and that adds a lot to realism. So that's called occlusion detection. So anyway, I won't talk about that anymore, but I'll just quickly show you what the AR is a little bit like. So for example, if you click on measure there, so you can see that like, this little measure app detects the walls quite readily. And so like if I go from here to here, I can sort of see with AR, okay, this like area from here is 57 centimeters. If I go from, for example, this doorknob to the floor, that's 98 centimeters. So that's really cool. And like another one that I tend to show people just to sort of show off a little bit is this this atlas of the human body, which is kind of gross, but it's quite cool to look at. So maybe I'll show you one of the less gross ones, like the human brain. So if I was to put that into AR, I can actually just chop this thing on the floor, and it's really, really quick. And then I have a small dude just standing there in my room. Kind of weird, right? And so like if I physically like move around, I can actually go around and be able to examine the brain, that sort of thing. So you'll see that this is something that might be like, if I even like go forward a little bit, I can actually like dissect the brain a tiny little bit and go into see stuff. So for example, I think probably there's like basal ganglia and stuff like that around here. There's a bunch of other nerves, and like I don't really recognize what I am right now, but you can see that that could be something that's useful for people. But more than that, I just think it's kind of cool. So yeah. So that is a quick overview of the iPhone 12 Pro. It's my favorite iPhone thus far. I mean, it's the newest and it's like fastest, and it's got a really nice camera. It's got really nice everything. So I really, really like it. I love the design, how it goes back to the old iPhone 4 days when Steve Jobs was still around, because it's so like, it's such a nice looking phone. But if you're considering getting an iPhone 12 or 12 Pro, to be honest, I think most of the reviews say that the iPhone 12 is just better value for money. I don't think most people need the Pro version unless you like shiny things or like you need to record at Dolby Vision 60 FPS for whatever reason, or you particularly need the LiDAR scanning if you're like interested in perhaps developing for augmented reality or those sorts of things. But apart from those reasons, honestly, I think the iPhone 12 would be a good enough phone. The iPhone 12 Pro is just for people that don't mind spending a little bit of extra cash, especially if you're already going to get the 256GB version of the iPhone 12 anyway. So yeah, hope that you liked this video. If this has been useful to you, please subscribe or leave a comment on stuff that you'd like to know about iPhone and stuff. And have a nice day, wherever you are. Okay, catch you.